was shocking, and it frankly pissed off.
Strange occurrences at Skinwalker Ranch have captivated audiences for years. But owner Brandon Fugal claims the public hasn't seen half of what's happening. His recent announcement reveals new evidence and a terrifying discovery that changes everything about the ranch. The unexpected announcement. On the evening of an undisclosed date in late 2024, Brandon Fugal appeared on an independent livestream channel with an audience that rarely exceeded a few thousand viewers. What transpired during that 47-minute interview would be viewed over 12 million times within the first week. Industry observers noted immediately that something was different. Fugal, known for carefully managed media appearances and strict adherence to non-disclosure protocols, appeared visibly tense. Background details captured by viewers included closed window blinds during daylight hours and what appeared to be private security personnel positioned in the reflected glass. The interview deviated from standard format within the first 2 minutes. Before the host completed his opening question, Fugal interrupted with a statement that would later be analyzed by thousands of online commentators. He claimed that operations at Skinwalker Ranch had encountered phenomena that defied current understanding. He stated explicitly that external parties had instructed the team to halt excavation activities and destroy collected data. Over 80,000 concurrent viewers logged in within 15 minutes of that statement. Fugal proceeded to describe excavation work conducted near the southern Mesa Ridge earlier that month. The team had been investigating recurring radiation anomalies, the same type that had previously resulted in documented medical incidents among staff members. At a depth of 8 feet, ground-penetrating equipment detected geometric patterns carved into bedrock. Photographic evidence, briefly displayed during the interview, showed linear formations with precise symmetry. Geological analysis determined the markings were not consistent with natural erosion or modern tool work. According to Fugal's account, preliminary findings were transmitted to an unnamed government consultant. The response allegedly demanded immediate site closure and documentation destruction. When the team declined, Fugal claimed 3 helicopters with no visible identification markings conducted unauthorized flights over the property. Flight records obtained through FOIA requests later confirmed unreported air traffic in that region during the specified time frame. Fugal then displayed imaging data on his mobile device. The scan showed a circular cavity structure approximately 40 feet beneath the mesa surface. Surrounding chambers formed a pattern that multiple engineers later described as architecturally deliberate. Spectral analysis detected metallic compounds within the central cavity. His final statement became the most shared quote from the interview. He asserted that the structure was not a natural geological formation. Someone, or something, had placed it there deliberately. The statement marked a significant departure from Fugal's previous public communications, which had maintained carefully neutral language regarding unexplained phenomena. Within 6 hours, the interview had been archived, analyzed, and distributed across multiple platforms. The investigation was no longer theoretical, but Brandon's warning was just the beginning. What he discovered about the object itself would prove far more disturbing than anyone anticipated. The object beneath the mesa. Within 48 hours of the public interview, internal documents from Skinwalker Ranch began revealing details that had been kept strictly confidential. The metallic object detected beneath the mesa presented characteristics that defied conventional explanation. Laboratory analysis of the electromagnetic scan data showed an alloy composition with no match in any industrial database. Engineers noted that the object's reflective properties weren't random. The patterns suggested intentional design, as if whatever created it wanted to be discovered, but made understanding it nearly impossible. The team proceeded with a controlled sensor descent into the cavern through a stabilized borehole. What happened next was captured on multiple recording devices. Cameras experienced sudden digital corruption. Temperature sensors registered impossible fluctuations, jumping from sub-zero readings to over 200 degrees Fahrenheit in less than 3 seconds. At 14 minutes into the descent, equipment recorded a low-frequency vibration. The sound registered at 32 Hz, powerful enough to cause physical resonance in the steel cables. One monitor briefly displayed a clear image through the interference. A spherical object, approximately 6 feet in diameter, suspended within a larger structure. The feed terminated without warning. Medical records from that day document acute radiation exposure in a 34-year-old technician who had been stationed near the borehole opening. His symptoms progressed with unusual speed. Erythema appeared within 2 hours. Hair loss began before the end of the day. The exposure profile didn't match any known radiation signature in the medical literature. Federal communication logs show Brandon Fugal contacted his government liaison that evening. The response was unambiguous. All excavation activities were to stop immediately pending further authorization. Ranch security footage from later that night captured 2 vehicles with obscured license plates positioned along the property boundary. Infrared cameras recorded the vehicles, maintaining position for approximately 4 hours. The occupants never exited. Telephoto lenses were visible mounted on the passenger side windows. The most disturbing evidence came from a forensic review of the corrupted video files. Frame-by-frame analysis revealed something the team had missed during a live observation. Between frames 1,847 and 1,849, the spherical object showed measurable displacement, not mechanical movement. Rotational orientation change. The object had detected their presence, and it had responded. The sphere's response was only the first sign. Within days, outside forces would take an aggressive interest in silencing the investigation, growing government interest. Within 48 hours of the failed borehole scan, Brandon Fugal's communication channels became saturated with contact attempts from federal agencies previously uninvolved with the ranch operations. Email logs and message timestamps reveal a coordinated pattern of outreach. The communications avoided explicit threats. Instead, they arrived as formal offers, grant proposals, research partnerships, funding opportunities through newly established programs. Security analysts reviewing the documents identified a recurring clause in each agreement. Full custody and control of all recovered materials would transfer to federal oversight. Fugal declined every proposal. Telecommunications records from the ranch during this period document significant irregularities. Call connections terminated mid-transmission. Text messages experienced delivery delays ranging from 40 minutes to several hours. The ranch's IT infrastructure logged 127 intrusion attempts over a 72-hour period, originating from IP addresses routed through servers in multiple countries. A contracted cybersecurity consultant noted in his report that the intrusion patterns were not typical reconnaissance. The attempts appeared designed to map network vulnerabilities and identify points of minimal security resistance. Concurrent with these digital incursions, physical surveillance intensified. Ranch security cameras recorded motion sensor activations along the northern perimeter fence at 2:13 a.m. on 3 consecutive nights. When cameras rotated toward the alerts, footage captured 3 humanoid figures standing motionless beyond the property boundary. Frame analysis revealed anomalous characteristics. The figures displayed unusual postural rigidity and proportional symmetry inconsistent with normal human stance. After approximately 15 seconds of recorded footage, each figure disappeared during a burst of video static. Technical analysis could not determine if the static was electromagnetic interference or digital corruption. During this same period, seismographic equipment positioned across the mesa began detecting rhythmic subsurface vibrations. The pulses occurred at precise 6-minute intervals with amplitude consistency, that geologists confirmed was incompatible with natural seismic activity. The pattern suggested artificial generation. Personnel reports from ranch staff during this time documented disturbing psychological phenomena. Multiple workers reported auditory experiences near the excavation site. Descriptions included whispered vocalizations that appeared to originate internally rather than through atmospheric sound transmission. One geologist submitted his resignation after reporting sustained cranial pressure and sensations of cognitive intrusion when working near the mesa. His departure was immediate, without the standard 2-week notice period. Most concerning were the sleep disturbances. Approximately 47% of on-site personnel began experiencing identical nocturnal imagery. Reports described a subterranean chamber containing a suspended spherical object emitting pale blue luminescence. The dreams included auditory components matching the frequency signature recorded by instruments days earlier. The phenomenon suggested coordinated neurological influence rather than coincidental psychological convergence. Something beneath the mesa was not simply transmitting signals, it was selecting recipients. Government pressure was escalating, but nothing could prepare the team for what happened when an unauthorized aircraft entered the ranch's airspace. The aircraft incident. 3 days after the seismic pulse pattern was established, radar systems monitoring Skinwalker Ranch airspace detected an unscheduled aircraft entering the restricted zone. Flight tracking data showed a small fixed-wing plane circling the mesa at an altitude of approximately 800 feet, well below standard aviation protocols for the area. The aircraft ignored all radio contact attempts. Communications logs show 7 separate hailing attempts over a 12-minute period, all unanswered. Security footage captured the plane banking sharply toward the excavation site. Camera analysis revealed specialized equipment mounted to the aircraft's undercarriage, directed downward at the mesa surface. The equipment configuration matched aerial survey technology used in geological mapping operations. At 11:47 a.m., ranch monitoring systems registered a sudden spike in microwave radiation emanating from the subterranean cavity. The increase measured 340 spikes above baseline readings recorded just minutes earlier. Correlation analysis indicates the radiation spike occurred within 6 seconds of the aircraft's closest approach to the excavation site. What happened next was captured by multiple recording devices. The aircraft's navigation lights began flickering erratically. Engine acoustics, audible on ground-level microphones, transitioned from steady propeller rotation to irregular sputtering. Within 18 seconds, the engine ceased operation entirely. The plane did not fall. Aerodynamic analysis of the descent pattern shows controlled gliding characteristics inconsistent with engine failure scenarios. The craft descended in a gradual spiral, maintaining structural integrity throughout. It came to rest in an open field approximately 2 miles from the ranch boundary. No fire occurred, no structural damage was evident. The landing appeared guided rather than catastrophic. Federal response vehicles arrived at the crash site within 22 minutes, faster than standard emergency response times for the region. Personnel wearing unmarked uniforms established a perimeter and confiscated all onboard equipment. The pilot was escorted into an unmarked vehicle and removed from the scene. No public statement was issued regarding the incident. When Fugal's legal team requested information through official channels, they received a single-line response citing aviation protocol violations. No additional details were provided. The aircraft incident marked a turning point. Soon, the ranch itself would begin affecting everyone who worked there in ways no one could explain. Psychological and physical effects. In the week following the aircraft incident, personnel management records document a marked deterioration in team cohesion. Staff members with years of collaborative experience began exhibiting behavioral changes characterized by increased irritability, interpersonal conflict, and decision-making impairment. Incident reports cite arguments over routine operational matters, equipment placement, laboratory access schedules, meal preparation timing. Disputes that would normally resolve through basic communication escalated to formal grievances requiring management intervention. Biometric monitoring data collected from wearable health devices worn by research personnel revealed disturbing physiological patterns. Heart rate variability showed unexplained spikes occurring when staff members passed directly above the subterranean cavity location. EEG recordings detected brief bursts of activity in brain regions associated with fear response and memory consolidation during REM sleep. The data suggested neurological interaction rather than psychological stress. Navigation equipment across the facility began experiencing systematic failure. Every analog compass on the property exhibited directional drift, with magnetic north indicators pulling toward the excavation site regardless of actual positioning. Digital magnetometers confirmed the anomaly, recording a localized magnetic field distortion that geological models could not explain. Computer simulations of the magnetic readings produced an impossible geometric structure. The field pattern resembled a rotating toroidal formation, creating what appeared to be a containment shell around the underground object. During a closed administrative meeting documented in internal memos, one senior researcher abruptly terminated her participation mid-discussion. Witness statements describe her as appearing disoriented, with unfocused visual tracking. She departed the facility within 2 hours, abandoning personal equipment and forgoing final payment processing. Her employment file was flagged and sealed. Sleep disruption reports reached critical levels. Personnel logs document 23 staff members experiencing nocturnal awakening at precisely 3:11 a.m. over 7 consecutive nights. Security timestamp data confirms the consistency. Ranch surveillance cameras recorded simultaneous electromagnetic interference at that exact time, accurate to the second. The precision eliminated coincidence as an explanation. Government liaison communications during this period show increasing pressure to cease operations. One phone conversation, partially recorded before disconnection, included a direct question about whether similar patterns had been observed at other locations. The call terminated before any response was provided. The line remained dead for 40 minutes before dial tone resumed. The psychological effects were disturbing enough, but the object beneath the mesa was about to reveal it could do something far more sophisticated than anyone imagined. The signal evolution. By the end of the second week, seismographic data revealed a fundamental change in the subsurface pulse patterns. The simple rhythmic signals documented earlier had evolved into complex waveform structures that signal processing experts characterized as information transmission rather than random geological activity. Audio conversion of the frequency data produced a low-frequency oscillation with distinct modulation characteristics. Acoustic analysis identified deliberate variation in amplitude, timing, and harmonic content. The pattern showed organizational complexity inconsistent with natural phenomena. Most significantly, the transmission repeated at precisely 42-minute intervals with temporal accuracy exceeding atomic clock precision. Natural geological processes do not maintain such exact periodicity. Proximity sensors documented a direct correlation between signal intensity and human presence. When personnel approached within 30 meters of the excavation site, pulse amplitude increased by an average of 23%. Biometric monitors simultaneously recorded elevated heart rates and altered brainwave patterns in the approaching individuals. The object was demonstrating awareness of human proximity. At 3:11 a.m., the recurring time of nocturnal disturbances, acoustic sensors detected a new phenomenon. A rhythmic metallic resonance emanated from beneath the mesa, resembling thermal expansion of metal structures. However, temperature monitoring showed no corresponding heat fluctuation. The sound suggested mechanical adjustment occurring at ambient temperature. In an attempt to establish communication protocols, the research team broadcast a controlled acoustic tone into the cavity through existing borehole access points. For 47 seconds, all seismic activity ceased completely. Monitoring equipment recorded absolute silence from the subsurface structure. Environmental sensors detected atmospheric pressure changes. Wind measurement instruments showed air movement cessation. The entire ranch environment entered a state of suspended animation. Then the object responded. The return pulse carried sufficient electromagnetic energy to cause catastrophic failure in 2 server arrays and induce widespread display corruption across all monitoring screens. Data recovery specialists later extracted fragments from the corrupted files. Embedded within the electromagnetic noise were 6 repeating geometric symbols arranged in precise angular relationships. Linguistic analysis determined the symbols were not analogous to any known written language system. However, mathematical analysis revealed the angular measurements between symbols corresponded to specific astronomical coordinates. The symbols represented positions in space. Frame-by-frame analysis of the corrupted video data showed the symbols were not static images. They rotated and reconfigured in sequences that suggested dimensional projection rather than two-dimensional representation. Computer modeling indicated the patterns required 4-dimensional space to fully manifest. Whatever existed beneath the mesa was not simply transmitting information. It was attempting to communicate concepts beyond 3-dimensional reference frames. And it was waiting for a response it could understand. The signals suggested intelligence. But when the team finally looked inside the chamber, they discovered something that defied every the chamber revealed. With seismic activity escalating, Brandon Fugal authorized a second penetration attempt using fiber optic camera technology. The equipment specifications allowed for insertion through a minimal aperture in the chamber wall, reducing structural disruption while maintaining visual documentation capability. The drill descended under precise telemetric guidance until sensors detected the hollow space beneath the mesa at a depth of 43 feet. Camera activation occurred at 10:23 a.m. Initial footage showed complete darkness. After automatic focus adjustment, the chamber walls became visible. The surfaces exhibited properties inconsistent with natural cave formation. Perfectly smooth curvature, uniform reflective coating, material composition resembling polished metallic alloy rather than sedimentary rock. The walls displayed repetitive hexagonal etching patterns, each approximately 8 centimeters in diameter. The etchings emitted faint bioluminescent blue light with no detectable heat signature. Spectral analysis could not identify the light source mechanism. As the camera panned downward, the central object came into frame, a sphere measuring approximately 1.8 meters in diameter, suspended 30 centimeters above the chamber floor with no visible support structure. The object maintained rotational movement, revealing surface engravings that resembled orbital pathway calculations. Each rotation corresponded with a visible pulse in the chamber wall luminescence, suggesting resonant interaction between the sphere and its containment structure. At 10:31 a.m., video quality degraded rapidly. The camera lens developed internal condensation despite sealed housing rated for extreme environments. Control room temperature sensors registered a sudden increase of 10 degrees Celsius within 8 seconds. Audio equipment captured anomalous sound. 3 overlapping vocal tones speaking simultaneously, forming no recognizable phonetic structure. Linguistic analysis confirmed the sounds were not mechanical interference. The frequency patterns matched human vocal range, but contained harmonic complexities beyond natural speech production. Multiple personnel reported immediate physiological responses. 2 technicians experienced acute panic symptoms. 1 collapsed with auditory sensitivity, covering ears despite external sound meters registering normal ambient levels. The video feed transitioned to white saturation. When image quality returned, the sphere's luminescence had intensified by 400%. The chamber walls exhibited movement, undulating like biological membrane tissue rather than solid matter. The camera housing began liquefying. Metal components dripped despite thermal readings indicating only modest temperature elevation. Brandon ordered immediate equipment retrieval. They had not discovered an artifact. They had activated a system. Following the chamber incident, Brandon Fugal suspended all drilling operations and ordered comprehensive electromagnetic surveillance of the entire property. The sweep detected anomalies that fundamentally altered the investigation's parameters. 3 distinct electromagnetic signatures were identified, hovering above the mesa in triangular formation. The signals registered on specialized radar equipment but produced no corresponding visual confirmation. Multiple camera systems aimed skyward recorded only clear atmosphere, while instruments indicated solid mass presence. The contradiction could not be reconciled through equipment malfunction. Multiple independent sensor arrays confirmed identical readings. When technicians attempted to power down certain monitoring systems to reduce potential interference, the ranch's networked infrastructure began operating autonomously. Computers rebooted without user input. Tablets displayed unauthorized login attempts from no traceable source. Security gate mechanisms cycled open and closed with no command signals in the access logs. The facility systems were being tested, probed for vulnerabilities and response patterns. The layered vocal tones previously detected in the chamber reappeared through the ranch's radio communication array. Signal analysis identified the transmission as modulated frequency patterns matching known pulsar astronomical signatures. The pulses accelerated proportionally to the duration of equipment shutdowns. When full power was restored, the signals immediately diminished. The implication was unambiguous. The underground system did not tolerate isolation or communication disruption. Animal behavioral monitoring showed complete avoidance of the mesa area. Camera traps positioned along approach paths recorded multiple species pausing at consistent distances, observing the formation, then retreating. The sphere's luminescence decreased to minimal levels, suggesting dormancy protocols. At 3:14 a.m., subsurface sensors activated without human initiation. The chamber emitted light intensity sufficient to illuminate fissures in the mesa surface, visible from the valley floor 2 miles distant. The following morning, Brandon Fugal made a public statement that terminated all official ambiguity regarding the ranch's discoveries. He confirmed the presence of non-human technology beneath Skinwalker Ranch. The announcement was categorical, irreversible, and supported by documented evidence. The investigation had concluded its preliminary phase. Confirmation had been established. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.